Now, we try to start it off like this. Let's try to end it like this. Cambridge versus Somerville, death match. Why should someone move to Somerville over Cambridge? Go.
Well, listen, my family, like the mayors, immigrated to Cambridge, East Cambridge, but they were smart and they escaped to Somerville for a better life and a better world. And Cambridge exiled all their activists and advocates, and they came to Somerville because we're a city that's creative, we're original, and our freaks are better than theirs, quite honestly. So that's why you want to be in Somerville.
Mayor Siddiqui, I saw you just housed the whole coffee. You're ready to go. Come on.
Yeah. I don't have to sell Cambridge. I'm sorry. I think it speaks for the city is just an amazing city. We have great people. I got to say, we have the best people who really care. And I think the hardworking people of city government, the customer service that we offer, I think it's unparalleled. And it's the best part of growing up here. I think you can grow up coming from nothing and then be a mayor. And so that's what it says. I think you have dreams and the city, and it's great people will help you succeed.
So you're saying the Cambridge people are better than the Somerville people?
I'm just saying we have just amazing people here who are.
You're a politician.
And I'm really not one of those real politicians. I'm just, I really, I come from a legal aid attorney background. So I care tremendously about helping people. And I think the people of Cambridge feel that way, and I see it every day.
Okay, I get a shot. Hi, this is Joe Curtatone, Mayor of Somerville, part of the dynamic mayor duo. And this is our golden hour.
Hi. My name is Sumbul Siddiqui, Mayor of Cambridge, and I am part of the Mayor Task Force Dynamic Duo, and this is our golden hour.
Boston, 2020, an era of chaos. But one podcast perseveres to unite the city. Ha ha ha! Yes, sir, baby boy, it's Big Bochi, and you're now tuned into the #1 podcast in Boston. Season 6 is booming. Hey, Mayor Siddiqui, can you see us?
I can. How is everyone doing?
Hey,
Hi,
how are
Madam
you?
Mayor. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you, Joe.
Yeah, you too.
I threw a mayor party, man. Look at this.
I love it.
This is great.
Joe, you were great this morning.
Oh, thanks. That was so frustrating.
No, yeah, we're all like, glad you said it. So
Thanks.
it needed to be said. So
What party did I not get invited to this morning?
We had a
It's a
regional
secret.
call. Yeah. We could tell you, but then we have to track you down even during this epidemic and kill you.
Hey, Mayor Siddiqui, I'm Connor. It's nice to meet you over Zoom.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Rebecca was telling me about you. So
I know. Rebecca was telling me you guys were drinking buddies over at Brown. She told me
Wow.
some secrets and some stories.
We should have had some alcohol on this call. I'll be honest with you. I didn't plan ahead of this.
we went to high school together as well.
Oh, really?
So I've known her for a long time.
So are you a lot like Mayor Joe, just born and raised in Cambridge?
I wasn't born here. I was born in Pakistan, but I was raised in Cambridge. So we're similar in that respect. And we both went to law school. We have a lot in common.
Absolutely.
So
You guys are both nice people, it seems like.
depends on the day.
Real quick before we get into everything, Mayor Siddiqui, when you were at Brown, what was your favorite restaurant?
Oh wow.
Tell me it was Eastside Pockets.
I mean, I was just.
Let's go.
Yeah, or what was it called? I'm blanking. Not Angelo's. Angelo's is in Cambridge, but Antonio's for the pizza.
Yes, ma'am. Of course. Absolutely. Let's go. I like you like 10 points better already. I'm voting for you. Hey, so I have my two producers on the phone right now. I have Brendan and Sarah Slugs. You guys say what's up.
Hey, how are you? Hey, everybody.
Hey, Brendan. Hi, Sarah.
And so we obviously you guys are totally in the midst of like chaos every day, pandemic, COVID, but we figured we would just start this thing off by letting you guys give a little sales pitch for why Cambridge might be a little bit better than Somerville and vice versa. Because I think there's a lot of Corona news out there. Why don't we just start this off light? Joe, I'll let you start, okay?
Well, no, ladies first. Madam Mayor, go ahead.
You know, I think I have to say, I want to just thank Joe for his leadership in a lot of this. And Joe, you could feel free to add a lot about the Metro Mayors Coalition. But day one, it's been many conversations that cities and towns have been having collectively. And we're all working hard and learning from each other, I have to say. And for Cambridge in particular, you know, right off the bat, we're a much more privileged city, and I recognize that. And you know, when we talk to the Lawrences, these cities that these are some of my favorite cities, and I have to say we are so fortunate here. And so I think there's a lot that we've been able to do as a result. You know, we've with our children and families, and keeping our most vulnerable in mind. And I think that's important to all the mayors, all the city managers. How do we keep the most vulnerable in mind? So right off the bat, we set up our food programs, our schools set up emergency meals that have continued throughout. We've been able to do thousands and thousands of meals weekly for families. We have a Cambridge food line. If you are feeling food insecure, that you can call and we'll have food delivered. We've set up the mayor's disaster relief fund that's up to 3.6 million
I saw that.
as of now, and we are paying for people's rent. We are paying for household expenses, and you know, this is not just a month thing. So these expenses will grow as this pandemic impacts more and more. You know, my goal as the chair of the school committee too is focused on this immense loss our students are facing, and there's so many issues that were impacting our vulnerable students beforehand, and now they're being further exacerbated. So just like Somerville, we've pushed out Chromebooks and hotspots to the students who need them. But there are gaps, and those gaps are going to be further exacerbated as the months go on. So how do we really prepare for that? You know, we knew that our small business community is really hurting. So how do we help our small businesses? And it's a struggle, because we know some aren't coming back. And so right off the bat, we said, you know, we have homeless shelters. Let's contract our small businesses who are still operating, and make sure the city contracts with them to deliver food to all our homeless shelters and so forth. So these are the types of things we're doing. I think you know, it's an ongoing it's an ongoing challenge. There's so many ways all of us have had to pivot, and there's always more work to be done. You know, I didn't even talk about our elderly community and what we do there, but you know, we've been really fortunate to have the Broad Institute to be able to test. So I think I start with that. You know, we're very fortunate here, and I wish, you know,
Do
I wish
you
we
mind
could
if I
have.
pivot real quick?
Yeah,
We'll get to the sales pitch later. We'll do that at the end. We'll do the
I'm not
Cambridge
good at
versus Somerville.
sales. I'm not like Mark. I'm more of a touchy-feely throwing this together. I love Somerville.
I
So
know Mark was a major Cambridge mascot. I thought you were gonna be like, let's go Cambridge, F Somerville.
I'm not.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of that going on still. I thought, you know, we can get into that.
So and we'll get into all the specifics of what you guys have been doing specifically the last 5-6 weeks, but how do you guys communicate now as mayors? I think one thing I personally don't know is the role local government plays in relation to state government. Are you guys constantly collaborating between cities, helping each other's out? Like, how does it work right now?
So let me say, when we say it's all hands on deck, literally, as we take on COVID-19, and that means every individual, every person the private sector, the public sector, your local government more than anything, because we are in a unique position to feel and see what's on the ground, and we're conduits of that information. And, you know, the mayor was on a call with me, regional call of our communities around the Metro Boston region with the lieutenant governor today. And I think one of the points we were making was, as we think about how we, when the time is right to lift restrictions, that you need local government to be the surrogates, and the fact, and we have to be the ones that operationalize whatever plan. So having our input is critical. So we're in every state is different, and we're in a home rule state here. I mean, there's a slogan in Somerville's logo, unlike Cambridge, by the way, which says municipal freedom gives national strength. But really, what's unique in Massachusetts is we don't have strong regional governments. So the work the mayor and I do together in Cambridge and Somerville and other communities in the Metro Boston region and coalitions across the state is critical. We're a collection of small communities. We have a history of being provincial and parochial. So now more than ever, working together, communicating with one another. We're on constant calls, Zoom calls, and we're engaging about what we're seeing on the ground, how we can collaborate, and we're trying to get that information to state government. So
what does that look like, though, between you two?
yeah, I mean, you know, physically, I mean, it's on calls like this.
But like, what have you collaborated on recently between cities?
Sure. Well, I would say when you saw at the beginning, and I'll be very candid about this, and I expressed it this morning, what we don't want to have happen going forward is what happened at the beginning, when the state finally came around to closing schools, when cities like Cambridge and Somerville around the region took the initiative based on the science and the data we're saying. The state finally came around to issue at least a stay-at-home advisory, because cities and towns were taking the initiative on their own, because we knew we had to do things. And it's important that we're aligned lockstep and heel. So that's the challenge moving forward, that if we're going to think about lifting restrictions, that it's based on science and data on health experts, that we're thinking about saving lives, and that we operationalize and put anything into action in a coordinated fashion. So in terms of what it looks like, I think there's a little disconnect there still, and that's where we're trying to work hard to bridge between the municipalities, our regions, and the Commonwealth.
What about you, Mayor Siddiqui?
No, I think Joe said it best. I think early on, there's been a lot of collaboration at the local level, and you know, we haven't had much guidance from the federal level, and we had slow guidance from the state level, and so that's still in flux. I think it's very important that what's happening regionally, what each city is doing, as we move forward, we work and collaborate and talk to one another as much as possible.
So let's say Governor Baker says, all right, listen, we're shutting down schools. That's what's happening. Are you guys like, okay, we're following your orders? Or could you guys make that call previously? Who has the leverage to make that decision?
So in general, we made those calls even before the state. That's what happened. And that's finally, the governor was reticent about
I know, Joe, you've been aggressive, man.
and he was reticent. So in general, if the governor issues an order, we're allowed to, and I'll say this in a very general way, add more stringent or stricter orders to it. We're not allowed to loosen it. So if the governor says we're closing our schools, we're not allowed to open. If the governor doesn't move to close schools, we are allowed to close. We can close based on our own promulgated health policies and mandates now. But the problem was, at the beginning, we had this sort of whack-a-mole approach. One community was closing, the other wasn't, or we all issued certain stay-at-home guidelines. One community closed health clubs, the other didn't, or different entertainment venues, and that can't work. It was dangerous at the beginning, and luckily we're in a position to absorb the surge right now. As we think about lifting restrictions, we can't have a varying set of rules. We have to be really connected, lockstep, and heel. And I think you'll find in Massachusetts that if the governor tries to push things open too soon, many communities will not allow those things to be open.
Yeah, and I want to get to reopening a little bit later in the episode, but when you guys had initially gotten the COVID news, Joe, you're obviously a veteran mayor now, and Mayor Siddiqui, you're in your first term. had you ever had any experience in dealing something to this magnitude, Joe? And like, could anyone really be prepared in this situation?
I have to admit, and none of us had that I know of had a pandemic response plan in our top drawer. But
Locally?
yeah. Anyway, no one, when we get to a Monday morning quarterbacking thing, which we should do to hope we learn some lessons about
Mhm.
what we need to think about the future. Yeah. We always want to be prepared for the unexpected. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. And because there's so much uncertainty, there's so much unclarity, and there's so much fear, and the stakes are even higher, I'd submit, than the things we've had to deal with. I mean, the most recent crisis, other than any type of weather event, was the Great Recession, and it's much different than that when there was a slowing and the sloping down of economic activity. Here you had a health emergency.
Mhm.
Are at stake, and every day matters based on the decisions you make. In addition, there's incredible economic harm being done as a consequence of it, and not to mention the sort of a mental and emotional duress all our constituents are undergoing right now because of the isolation and the stress.
Now, Mayor Siddiqui, when you had first gotten the news, like, okay, COVID's getting bad, what were some of the first actions you took, and how did you assess the situation initially? I know it seems like it was like years ago that this started, but
Yeah, I think for me, I have a friend that she's a Cambridge resident, and she was in China in January visiting her mom, and then she was sending up updates that we're going into quarantine, and that was evolving there. And I was, to my mind, I was like, oh my God, that sounds awful. I hope that never happens here. And then honestly, 2 months later, I think March 11th or March 10th it was, and Joe and you convened a group together, a big group together, um, at Partners Healthcare facility, where we were hearing from experts on what's to come. And I think that's when most of the cities we mobilized and said, okay, we need a plan of action. So we worked, I worked very closely with the city manager, Louis, and his team, to figure out collective decisions. And the first one really were the schools, and then moving forward where the essential, the city halls, the playgrounds, the tennis courts. And so it was a series of decisions, that were coming up as we were getting more data. So a lot of this has been data driven, and has been looking at what is happening.
now where do you get
China.
your data?
So a lot of the data has been coming from, key epidemiologists in the field. It's coming from Partners Healthcare. It's coming from MGH, and that's coming from, it's really being informed by the key experts in the region, in the country, looking at COVID-19.
Same thing with you, Joe.
Yeah, we've been working, we've been all, Cambridge, Sumbul, we've all been guided by science. And what we do is within our communities, as the mayor mentioned, we're being guided by experts. But when we convene these major coalition calls, cities and towns, we have a cohort of epidemiologists, experts who have been advising us. And they're the same ones participating in advising of the CDC, the WHO, and even the Commonwealth, from, again, Northeastern Harvard and Partners.
From our area.
And it's important. It's really been guiding all our policy decisions, because this is new to us, and we need to be guided by the science. That has to be the foundation of all our policy decisions at this point.
Hey, I'm grateful for local government. Thank you guys,
Me too.
man. So additionally, we're now in week 5 or 6 of the old quarantine?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like year 10.
Yeah, so long ago you hit it.
So obviously people are antsy, and Massachusetts is notably the most progressive state. Do you guys think long term that it's going to be a situation where once every other state opens up, Massachusetts will open up? I mean, you guys are progressive. You guys know what I'm saying.
I'd be very careful. We've been cautioned by experts. One of the experts we spoke to last week in a major coalition call said, couldn't couldn't really foresee any sectors of the economy. Now, when we say opening up, we're thinking about this in broad scale: the private sector, the public sector, all these sectors that have certain levels of activity. There was some cautionary notes here. One, we don't want to be copycatting just because some other state did it. Well, though we should be collaborating, we should praise the governor and the administration for entering the Northeast Compact. That's important. Much like we need cities and towns to work together, we need states and national regions.
Who's in the Northeast Compact?
That would be the New England states and including also New York and New Jersey as well.
Okay.
But the point I want to make and what was stated to us is envisioning anything opening up in any major scale before June 1 is really, it was a cautionary note against doing that. And when we open up, we want to, again, be guided by science. And we need testing to get up to a certain acceptable baseline. And in addition, we will caution about when we think about, let's just use the economy and certain business sectors, or whatever activity, even public events. When we start to think about evaluating what to do to have events again or open up sectors, we're cautioned against opening up anything where people come in that are part of a broad network, because they will act as vectors out for the virus. So we're seeing cautionary tales of this play out. Even Northern Japan, I think there was an article today.
What does that mean, Joe? Broad
They
network.
opened up, well, when you bring in people who have connected to many other people in different networks, again, we know the virus transmits, it doubles every 3 to 5 days. We're going to get a resurgence of this epidemic. We're going through a surge now. The virus, we're going to be living for a couple of years, so we need to be smart. You're smart with data, with testing. And now, I'm not even going to sit here and say we're going to have acceptable amount of testing by June 1. I'd venture to say we are not. So we can't rush to open up like a spigot every activity that was part of our normal day of life. We need to act succinctly, deliberately, but slowly and measure. And if you open up, restaurant industry across the board, well, you're going to bring people into restaurants. They're going to come from different communities. They're going to act as vectors in transmitting the virus. And we need to continue to interrupt transmission of the virus from person to person, because the resurgence will hit us. And we can't have a surge that's as big or bigger than the one we have now, heading into the fall when you have the regular flu season, because one will be shutting down again, more people get sick and die, and our economy will go into even greater depths than it is now. That is what's at stake here.
Mayor Siddiqui, what are you guys doing for testing right now?
So testing it's been a big issue, right? And there's, as we've seen on the federal level, there's a huge shortage. And then on the state level, we've been able to expand capacity. But this has been one of the most challenging things for municipalities. I think testing has been very important for our most vulnerable. And so we were able to partner with the Broad Institute through Harvard and MIT, and we're able to test many of our nursing home facilities, and we've started testing our homeless populations. And we've been able to do some testing for our frontline workers, or fire, our police. But, universal testing is not available right now, and the city is not running any, testing sites either. If you're a Cambridge Health Alliance patient, there has been, as Joe knows, drive-by testing available at the site in Somerville, and so it's been a challenge. It's been very, very challenging.
So there's no public testing in Cambridge yet, right?
No, if you need a test, if you're having symptoms, you'd call your healthcare provider. If your healthcare provider's facility, the hospital has a test, you can come in and take the test. But right now, if you're walking into a Mont Auburn or a Cambridge hospital and you say, I want a test, you will not be able to get tested. You need a referral to get tested.
It's just shocking. And it's obviously no one's fault, but it's just like we live in one of the best medical centers of the world. And if we can't have it, I wonder what the rest of the country's looking like,
Yeah.
Joe, but you guys have a drive-through testing something going on, right? Drive-through
Yeah.
test thing.
Yeah, Mayor Siddiqui just mentioned, so the Cambridge Health Alliance involves the Cambridge Hospital, the Somerville Hospital, the Whitton Hospital in Everett, and a litany of sort of community health centers. Cambridge Health Alliance, and Mayor Siddiqui was with me when we opened up the mobile site in Somerville, was there were two steps to this. One with the goal of starting to test Cambridge Health Alliance patients first in their healthcare network, and with the goal to open that up, then expand it to community-wide testing. Well, we've been hampered. Now the community-wide testing is about to happen for anybody. You don't have to be a CHA patient. What's been slowing down testing, not just for us, but for everyone in the country, is supply, the lack of swabs or reagents for the testing. This has been very frustrating. As you just mentioned, we are the richest country in the world. We're in Massachusetts, and so the research in healthcare, one of the best healthcare centers in the world. So that's finally going to tick up a little bit, and we have a focus with the testing on the most vulnerable populations where we see transmission rates higher. But the mayor is right that you still, most people, if you're sick and you're having symptoms, you need to call your primary care physician in your health network and go get tested. But we need testing to be spread across everyone, even those who are asymptomatic. And we need to be able to trace cases moving forward if we're going to really effectively think about lifting and on any broad scale restrictions, and again, not having a resurgence that overwhelms us.
Have you guys gotten a test yet?
No, symptoms, knock on wood.
Knocking on wood. Yeah, me neither.
How does it work? I mean, I've obviously seen a couple of the Trump press conferences where they're like, you shove like a swab all the way up your nose, but I know there's a litany of tests now, right? There's a couple different types.
Yeah, your viral test, your ones where you're using the swabbing technique, and if they're looking at other forms of testing, that I think the FDA is approving fast track, saliva, whatever. But when you go to the mobile site, is the swab. And people say, well, can't you use Q-tips if you can't get swabs? No, the swab is a particular swab that must maintain the integrity of the virus when you put the reagent in and transfer it to the testing site.
Oh, there's a difference between a Q-tip and a swab?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to maintain the integrity of the compound makeup of the virus.
You're like the only guy I know that'd be excited about the difference between.
Yeah, I said the
Q-tip.
same. No, my reaction was yours. What the hell? Can't we just use a Q-tip? But then there are antibody tests, the sort of serology, and Mayor Siddiqui, Cambridge is doing a lot with this. We're working and Somerville as well in communities. We got to trace the antibodies. It would be part of our case tracking. We'll know if someone's had the virus or has developed antibodies to it, and it's going to inform us a lot as we think of tracking.
Now, if I'm putting my Anderson Cooper hat on right now, both Somerville and Cambridge have homeless populations. And so, Mayor Siddiqui, I want to start with you. Like, how are you dissuading homeless people to not congregate and to get testing if they need it? Because it's just, I mean, there are homeless people at Alewife sometimes, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. I think it's been a challenge in that, we can't force homeless individuals to do the tests. We can say and explain it, but we mostly have had folks at our shelters not refuse testing, and so that has been great. And most people has taken the tests, and we've been able to figure out plans for them if they are testing positive for COVID-19. I think in general, it all goes back. There's these, we had this whole stay at home orders and advisories, and if you don't have a home, it is a huge challenge. And so we have seen, we've been trying to help as many people as possible. We've set up a homeless shelter at the War Memorial. I don't know if you went to Cambridge Interland, Connor. Did you?
I did not. My father did.
Okay.
My father went when it was Ringe Tech.
Okay.
He's an old geezer.
So, the War Memorial is a designated emergency site that we have. And, we were able to, set up an isolation quarantine site there, and then also have a day shelter for folks who don't have anywhere to go. we have some shelters that are still operating, and so we've been able to extend further funding to those shelters to keep them open during this time. But it has been a challenge, and I think our message has been through our services, through our Bay Cove, Casper, our amazing organizations who are working with this population to make sure that they have the resources so that they're successful.
So
Can I just give a bigger shout out to Cambridge because they've been working with Somerville also help. I mean, our homeless populations, they don't know geographic boundaries. They're the same
Right.
people living in each town, and we need to have empathy and compassion for these folks. That's their home wherever they find themselves. So we probably have.
I know, our studio's in Union Square. They're the same regulars usually there in Union Square.
And and we need to make sure they're protected, they're safe.
Right.
And then we want to prevent them acting as vectors in the community as well. So, Cambridge is set up there at the War Memorial, is helping those who are part of our homeless count in population, Somerville. And we've been working. There's also regional facilities being set up. There's a hotel in Revere as a regional facility where we can house folks, depending on where they are. Are they positive? Are they presumptive positive? Where they are? Do they need post-acute care? So forth. So we're working collectively and collaboratively on that as well.
Similarly, and I'm not totally fluent on both the term and what it means, but I know both Cambridge and Somerville are sanctuary cities, which means I don't even want to try to define it because it confuses me every time I bring it up. But if someone's an illegal immigrant and they feel like they might have some sort of symptom, what would you guys recommend they do? Is testing available for them?
Yeah, we advise people. Some of them see a healthcare provider they can, but they should in the city of Somerville. We're doing, and I know Cambridge is doing something similar, Madam. I'll leave that to you. We are out there engaging everyone in our population. We use our Summer Viva Office of Immigrant Outreach and Affairs to engage our immigrant population. We have certainly a high level of undocumented immigrants. We want to make sure they get the services, the resources, the essentials. And if they're having symptoms, we're giving them guidance on how to contact us and how we can get them tested.
Have they been showing up though? Are they nervous?
Yeah. We're so far that's the indications are yes, but now, as we just talked about, the Cambridge Health Alliance mobile testing site is beginning today, starting to be expanded to the general population, but we're going to focus that on areas where our most vulnerable populations live, such as the immigrant and undocumented immigrant population.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important to let our undocumented immigrant population know that all the city's resources, the Mayor's Disaster Relief Fund, for example, is open to residents. And so, I think this is a really challenging time, and we're really figuring out ways to reach out to those who may be afraid during this time.
Okay, just a quick pause on all the COVID news. What are you guys doing right now on a day-to-day basis to pass the time when you're not on mayor duty?
I feel we're like on mayor duty all the time, but
okay, Joe.
Personally, like last night, my oldest son set up a draft board, and we watched the NFL draft, and I probably got to have more family meals in the last month than I've had in the last 10 years. And I'm just trying to get out like everybody else. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's going to an isolated area, doing a little workout. I have 4 boys, so we do a little workout and they'll do some stuff in the backyard.
Just start a fight club.
Buying a lot of wine, I'll tell you that. We're consuming a lot of my house.
Mayor Siddiqui, shouts out to Cambridge. Cambridge has fresh pond. That is a huge asset right now.
Yeah, I have not been there yet, but no, there are, people need to get out and be safe. So, I've been trying to do that, but on the weekends, I'm mostly driving around and seeing, making sure our parks aren't too crowded, making sure.
Oh,
I know it's
surveillance duty.
Just curious, but I've been, really, I have a good support system. So spending some time at night, talking to people, talking to friends, catching up with a lot of folks, it has been good for that. But again, you feel like you're in City Hall. At least City Hall is close to the public. It's about 4 or 5 of us who are here every day. And there's some long nights, but generally we have to take care of ourselves so that we can feel like we can take care of others too.
Well, Mayor Siddiqui, what have you done for fun in the past 5 weeks? Like, what's made you laugh a little bit? What's made you smile, man?
Gosh, I did watch some Netflix
Okay.
and some new shows that have come up and some new documentaries. What did I just start?
Did you see Tiger
Started.
King?
I did. I watched all of Tiger King.
It's amazing.
So the public, I did watch Tiger King, and so that's something that I did for fun. I guess it was fun, but also very
Oh, bizarre. What a story.
bizarre. Oh my! I had to watch because everyone was talking about it.
Your little pop culture, a little socialite. I love it.
Yeah.
Joe, have you been bumping anything on Netflix?
Yeah, I let my kids pick, so I can't say they're all great movies. Watching a lot of oldies, watching a lot of Family Guy episodes. I'll tell you that right now.
No way.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mayor Adam West in Family Guy? You think it's an accurate depiction of a New
Classic.
England mayor?
Love him. I love him. Great.
It's a ridiculous character. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna make a prediction that things probably will be fully reopened or like more reopened by midsummer, like July is kind of what I think. And I'm not gonna make you guys make any sort of statement, but if you were to reopen right now, you guys collectively as a mayor task force duo, what steps would you take to do it effectively?
I think it's hard to say, to be honest with you, Connor. And to your other question, your other point, I wouldn't count on that being fully reopened.
Let's be a little positive, Joe. Come on, man.
No, I want to be positive, but I think we got to be right, and I think people are really, hey, we're going through a lot of stuff right now. Everyone's home, locked in. I think we have to be smart. If we think about reopening, the testing has to be up much better than it is now. We need to have a way of measuring what the impacts of lifting any restrictions are. If it's one sector of the economy, okay, what occurs of that? Do we have a greater transmission as a result of that? We don't really know right now, but we know we need to, one, it has to be based on science. Two, we have to elevate the testing. Three, we have to be able to measure, and not just the testing, but the case tracking and look at digital tracing and other forms of innovation. But we need to be able to measure the impacts of those new policies. And we can't just turn it back on again. And people got to realize the new normal, we can't even imagine. Things are going to change. How we act in our daily lives, what our school operations look like. I can't speak for the mayor, but I'm sure, Madam Mayor, like, what will City Hall look like when I open up operations at City Hall? Will all my staff be here ever again at once in the near future? Will the services all be, a lot accessible at the same time? And no, Connie, these are questions, answers to questions we have and answers we don't have.
Yeah, I think you've said it, you've laid it out really well. It's too speculative at this point, and I think around this thinking, it's going to be a phased approach, right? If we are reopening, City Hall needs to reopen, as you've said. Then who's essential? Who's more vulnerable? There's all these indicators. I think even as we reopen, the risk of the virus to our elderly, to our most vulnerable, it's going to look different for each population. So we have to keep that in mind as well. So I think this is going to require a lot of thoughtful planning, a lot of, as Joe said, what's our data telling us? I think right now some countries are thinking around, how many consecutive no new cases. I think you have to have at least 2 weeks, 14 days of no new cases to look at, and then point to, and then think about other steps even before you think about reopening. So we're really far from that, and so I think we have to be very cautious in how we do it. We don't want a situation, as we've talked about. Look at what's happening in Singapore.
I'm actually unfamiliar with what's happening in Singapore.
So I will let you know. So in Singapore, they did a short-term quarantine, and then they just had a resurgence because there was a huge outbreak in these dormitories, and these dormitories were dormitories for many low-wage workers, and now they've had to do another lockdown, and it's been more it's been more strict than the first one. But to Joe's points earlier, if we reopen and then we haven't thought through this a potential outbreak in a certain area, then we're going back to square one. And so no city wants to be in that situation, and it would be really bad for the public health, bad for our most vulnerable communities if we went that route. And so we have some lessons to look at, to say, look, we got to slow down. We have to look at actually the data and the facts.
Yeah. So what I'm gathering from you too is that although people are antsy to get back, obviously because it's in the media right now, like things are going to be reopened soon. Things will probably not be reopened anytime soon.
Yeah, not to the extent that we hope,
Right.
that we think. It's not going to be, and we don't know what the new normal is. I have no idea what normal is anymore.
Yeah, what day is
You never
it?
did, Joe.
Yeah, it's okay. But you know what? Hey, listen, everyone, I will say, and I've seen it, I drive around even parts of Cambridge as long as I can tolerate it. And then I see people, we have great compliance. Really, people deserve a lot of credit. We have to have empathy for folks and say, thank you for what you're doing to help us all take on COVID-19. And if we continue to work together, we stick together, embrace one another, look out for our neighbors, we'll get through this. And look, we'll keep people safe, we'll save lives, and we'll work on building our economy. But we have to do it the right way.
Hey, Brendan and Slugs, do you guys want to swing a question for the mayors?
Yeah, I have one. So what type of relief do your cities have for small businesses, and how do you decide who gets grants and funds?
Yeah, like what type of money can you guys tap into?
So we're, there's a few things going on. We've set up a Somerville Cares Fund, much like what Cambridge done, but on small businesses in particular, we're in daily conversations with them in different sectors of our economy. We want to understand what they're going through. And this is another pain point for us. It really saddens me to think that, for example, many of those restaurants we love about our communities that are so many of them locally owned and operated may not open again. And we know a lot of the federal efforts, the PPP program hasn't helped really, not just the people, but the businesses that need it most. Well, we announced the other day in Somerville, as we're taking, we announced $1 million fund, small business COVID-19 relief fund, so people can apply for businesses with a particular focus on locally owned, operated, or local franchise owners.
How do they do that online?
Yep, right online. You can go to www.somervillema.gov/coronavirus, and you can see all the programs there.
How much can you get?
Up to $10,000, and these are forgivable loans, in essence, grants. How
does that work, Joe? So like, let's say I was a Somerville resident and so I have my LLC and I'm like, okay, I'm totally getting busted on business. For instance, like, where our studio is, the Warehouse 11, like that's an event space, you know? If she's like, hey, I want some money, who decides, okay, you get 10K, and how do you decide if the loan's forgivable or not?
No, they are forgivable. 1, 2.
So she gets 10K, no problem.
Yeah, right. 2, we're not going to be what you saw in the federal program. It's not first come, first serve. So we're going to evaluate the totality of the application. And we're going to pay particular attention to, our sort of freelance workers here and independents, not just restaurants. It's not just certain retail shops. So it's going to be more dynamic in that, in an effort to really address the people who need it. But I'll let the mayor talk about a couple of things. It's like Cambridge, we've all fought for, we've instituted restrictions on evicting people physically from their homes and their small businesses. But we know that, and we advocated and fought for the moratorium on a statewide level, which was passed, and sort of the forbearance on mortgages. But we have to understand that at some point when the bills are due, people need to have resources. So getting small businesses funds like this in their hands is important. Secondly, we've done things more strategically, like around restaurants, allowing them to sell groceries, which helps them, one, pay some bills, bring back some staff, help our food supply and distribution chains, and provide another important point of food access for folks. But that daily conversation with our small business in that community is advising us and giving us a lot of input. We want to make sure small businesses are ready to be up and running when we get to the other side of this thing. We just don't know when that's going to be.
How soon can they get their money?
What's that?
How soon can they get money?
Pretty soon from the city. The application just, I think, went out maybe yesterday. I'll check. It should be online. And we are going to be reviewing them. We won't be the first come, first serve, but we're not going to wait weeks to start reviewing them.
Mayor Siddiqui,
Sure.
Pita is my favorite restaurant in Cambridge.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, in Inman Square. It's actually right on the Somerville line.
yeah.
And
They're
I
doing
also and I
takeout.
also love if I'm like feeling like, all right, we'll just let the 6-pack take a break today. I love Mama Goose.
Oh yeah, the chicken fingers, right? Yeah.
Oh, the
Uh,
honey mustard.
oh,
So
they're good.
if
So
if
we're
they
doing
if they
similar
say,
things.
hey, I want some money, the owners of those 2 establishments, what can we do?
So we have a small business COVID-19 relief grant program going on right now that's using our community, our CDGB money through HUD for eligible retail food services, personal services, and some other creative for-profit businesses. So there's a whole range. But those grants are $6,000, right? That's still that's some money, but we know that we recognize that more needs to be done. So while this grant program is through May 1st, we are coming up with a different program similar to Somerville's that will be some larger grants in conjunction with a few other parties. I can't say much about it right now because it's still in the works, but we're in constant communication with our small business associations and figuring out what their needs are, not just the next few months, but ongoing. It'll be a very different landscape, as Joe mentioned. So what are the things that the city can do for these businesses so that they feel supported? It's something that we are really taking seriously, and we're setting up an advisory committee to make sure that all the associations are at the table with our staff as we navigate.
Hey, Brendan, you want to throw a haymaker in there?
Yeah, I got one. So there's a lot of data coming in about the importance of masks, and a lot of these countries that adopted masks early, and it's more culturally accepted. They're doing a lot better with transmission rates. I'm just wondering, like, do you have a hand in distributing masks to your population, and how can you encourage the use of masks?
So thanks for the question. Yes, one, I know Cambridge has done also. We've been out there and our advisory strongly encouraging facial coverings or masks. One, again, to interrupt the transmission between person to person, from person to person. Somerville, a couple days ago, we distributed more than almost 4,000 masks to our senior buildings or assisted living facilities, veterans homes, and public housing where we have really vulnerable, people, our elderly population or disabled population. We're awaiting another major allotment because we want to do a massive distribution across the city. And then we are considering a mandatory order, but we have to understand that not everyone has a mask, and not everyone has the means and materials to make.
No, it's easy to cover your face. You can get something to cover your face.
I get it. I understand, but a lot of the data shows that's not always the case. However, people should be wearing facial coverings. It's just a cloth material of some sort. That's important. So I agree with this. So, but it's not easy to get masks, even for a municipality. I mean, those 4,000 we got, it took us a few weeks.
I'm going to start making GDP masks and I'll start selling them. How about that?
Put the picture of your pet in the background on it. I'd buy it.
Yeah, we've done the same. I think it's acquiring these masks have been difficult. We've received many donations from individuals who are, either they're making face coverings themselves to be delivered to residents, or through other, third parties. And the city, our inspectional service has gone out to make sure restaurants and their employees have masks. We want to make sure that, I think that people are following this guidance, and it makes it easier if they have these supplies. And our big multifamily buildings have been a huge concern. I grew up near Alewife, the towers, Connor.
Which tower were you in?
I grew up in the middle tower.
Okay.
So 364. And so
who I'm thinking about a lot is Apple Cinemas right now. The owner of Apple Cinemas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I miss the movies, but yeah, that I would deliver them about 2,000 masks uh, over to them. Last week that came from a donation from a Buddhist temple that's in Cambridge. Right, there's people who are. I gotta say the tremendous amount of folks who've been willing to help and donate has been incredible. And our Cambridge police right now, literally in an email. I was coordinating with them. They had a shipment come in. They're getting masks to the 402 building that's owned by a different. It's owned by one of our nonprofit affordable housing providers. They're literally doing that right now. So it's all hands on deck. Our great police department, our fire department have been active in delivering throughout the city.
Okay. Well, I have like one or two more questions. My first question is, hey, you guys having fun?
Yes.
I would love to keep doing these with you guys. Honestly, I think it's great to get good information out to people, but it's just like, let's take a break from all the morbid news for a sec. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but people can smile just a little bit. Do we concur? I know you guys are going through crazy stress, but come on, give me a smile.
Yeah, we need some levity, you know?
There it
Yeah.
is.
I'm smiling.
Okay.
I am. I'm having a good time.
Okay, good.
We can do this every week, Connor. You count me in.
Well, tell Mayor Walsh to get on the call. Let's do a
Yeah.
trifecta, the hat trick.
I'll tell Marty, yeah.
All right, well, listen. One question I have is actually we'll do this to close it out. I want you guys to go sales mode here. Now, we try to start it off like this. Let's try to end it like this. Cambridge versus Somerville, death match. Why should someone move to Somerville over Cambridge? Go.
Well, listen, my family, like the mayors, immigrated to Cambridge, East Cambridge, but they were smart and they escaped to Somerville for a better life and a better world. And Cambridge exiled all their activists and advocates, and they came to Somerville because we're a city that's creative, we're original, and our freaks are better than theirs, quite honestly. So that's why you want to be in Somerville.
Mayor Siddiqui, I saw you just housed the whole coffee. You're ready to go. Come on.
Yeah. I don't have to sell Cambridge. I'm sorry. I think it speaks for the city is just an amazing city. We have great people. I got to say, we have the best people who really care. And I think the hardworking people of city government, the customer service that we offer, I think it's unparalleled. And it's the best part of growing up here. I think you can grow up coming from nothing and then be a mayor. And so that's what it says. I think you have dreams and the city, and it's great people will help you succeed.
So you're saying the Cambridge people are better than the Somerville people?
I'm just saying we have just amazing people here who are.
You're a politician.
And I'm really not one of those real politicians. I'm just, I really, I come from a legal aid attorney background. So I care tremendously about helping people. And I think the people of Cambridge feel that way. And I see it every day.
All right. We're going to leave that one up for the comments to see who's taking the W. I like Joe's showmanship, but Mayor Siddiqui kind of had that slick back approach. Like, I don't really have to sell it.
She's unfazed by my comments.
Hey, Brendan and Slugs, do you guys have any questions before we rippity wrap this one up?
No, that was really informative.
Yeah, I think I'm good. That was awesome.
Sweet. Okay, so listen, my two favorite mayors. This is how we start and end the episode. Joe, you should be familiar. You messed up last time like crazy. So you say hi. And one, thank you both for doing this. I hope we can get some good info out to some people. You say, hi, I'm blank. I'm Joe. And then you say, hi, I'm Sumbul. And this is our golden hour. Directly after no break, hi, I'm blank. And I'm blank. And that was our golden hour. Joe, are you writing it down? You writing it down.
Damn.
I am
I
too.
messed it up last time.
He's writing it down. That's a first for the show for sure.
I'm tired, huh?
Right,
Hey,
right.
Zoom calls.
It was all time. All right, you got to say this is our golden hour, and then directly after that was our golden hour, and you have to introduce yourself both times.
Got it. Am I on?
I wish you guys had seen this. Joe's like was looking up at the camera.
I'm
just-
like, I was just saying,
Use 'em.
shit, don't let me screw this up again. Am I on?
Whenever you guys are ready,
Who goes first? Madam Mayor, you want to go first?
we'll collaborate. I think you guys should call yourself the Mayor Task Force Duo, and get the trio. Get Marty on the next one. Let's do it.
So, hi, I'm Sumbul, and this is our golden hour. Hi, I'm Sumbul, and this was our golden hour. I will have to do that again, right?
Absolutely, you got to do it again.
Joe, you go.
Okay, I give it a shot. Hi, this is Joe Curtatone, Mayor of Somerville, part of the dynamic mayor duo, and this is our golden hour. Hi, this is Joe Curtatone, Mayor of Somerville, part of the dynamic mayor duo, and that was our golden hour.
That's a real mayor right there. Come on, Sumbul and strong.
All right, I really like that. So we're calling dynamic.
The Mayor Task Force Dynamic Duo.
Okay. Mayor Task Force Dynamic Duo. Okay, I think I can do. Well, I got to write this down.
Just think of Adam West.
This is all time. I can't wait for you
Oh
guys.
my, hi, this is Sumbul Siddiqui. I got to remember my full name.
Quarantine, man.
I swear, I'm mayor of Cambridge. Yep. So mayor. I didn't sleep last night. Sleep well. So this is Sumbul Siddiqui, my mayor. This I'm probably going to butcher it again.
All right, Sumbul, I'll help you out. Okay.
Yeah,
Say, hi,
I got it.
I'm Mayor Siddiqui of Cambridge, and this is our golden hour.
Hmm.
And then, hi, I'm Mayor Siddiqui of Cambridge, part of the Mayor Task Force Duo, and that was our golden hour.
I'm gonna struggle.
Okay, just take your time.
So, did you see the mayor task force thing in the first part too?
You can leave it. You can put it in both. You can put it in either. Does not matter.
All right, I'll go for it. Hi, my name is Sumbul Siddiqui, Mayor of Cambridge, and I am part of the Mayor Task Force Dynamic Duo, and this is our golden hour.
Bang! You got that one.
Hi, this is Sumbul Siddiqui, Mayor of Cambridge, part of the Dynamic Mayor Duo, and this was our podcast.
No.
This was our golden podcast.
No, that was our golden
That
hour.
was. Okay.
She's the chair of the school committee. I want you to know that.
Chair of school committee and city council. Ooh. Anyway,
It's all that quarantine wine you're drinking, Mayor. Got you off your game, man.
how did you know?
The whole thing's been spiked.
All right. Do you really want me to do it one more time?
Yes.
Okay, the last part?
Yeah.
Okay.
This could be the show. This could be
All
the
right.
show, by the way.
This is Sumbul Siddiqui, Mayor of Cambridge, Massachusetts, part of the Dynamic Mayors Task Force Duo, and this was our golden podcast. That was fun, right?
Write it on the chat.
All right. Listen, we're gonna have to run another one. We're gonna have to run another episode so you can get it right. You blew it on the last one. I won't hold you over though. Hey everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We're gonna drop this like next Tuesday. And I'll get some clips here, guys. And shout out to Sarah for making it happen. And shout out to Madeline for making it happen.
Yeah. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, I had a good time. Talk to you guys
Good
soon.
to see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Freeze and fire.